OpenLine with Chris Clark. Brought to you by...
From News Channel 5 Plus, this is OpenLine with Chris Clark.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Open Line. Glad to have you with us. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the issue of right to die and pain management. Joining us is Dr. James Sullivan, internal medicine. Where do you practice, Doctor? Private practice, Baptist Hospital?
Baptist in Cincinnati.
Jan Jones, Alive Hospice, and Sharon Palmer, who is a patient who's in constant pain, right?
Unfortunately, yes.
And you suffer from? What keeps you in this pain?
Fibromyalgia and chronic myofascial pain syndrome.
And what does that mean? What is that?
Those are hard to define.
Yeah. Pain, causing muscles to cramp, causing more pain.
That's the myofascial part, yes. Fibromyalgia is more of a pain amplification syndrome, so it makes the myofascial pain worse. So it's a two-edged sword.
Good. That's terrible. How are you feeling right now?
I'm all right. I do have pain medication after having to go through, I can't even tell you what I've been through, but I have to go to Cincinnati for a doctor.
Why can't you find a doctor here in Nashville that take care of you?
They don't know how to treat it. They refuse, everyone I've met has refused to give me pain medication. My mother's an ER RN at Summit, and she said that a lot of the problem stems from drug addicts coming in, faking migraines and this, that, or the other, and as a result, the people in actual pain suffer.
So this pain of yours resulted in you writing a letter to the Tennessee and letters to the editors. That's how we found you. Tell us about that letter and what you said and what you read that prompted you to say it.
My goodness. They were talking about the right to die, and that I think someone had mentioned that Chris Reeve should be applauded while the guy with ALS took the easy way out, quote unquote, and that Chris Reeve was a stand-up guy and this guy was some kind of flake because he didn't want to live in pain. And that really angered me. I don't think people in general and doctors especially don't understand. It's a pet peeve of mine. I don't know how they can gauge our pain if they don't have it. It's subjective, and they don't look at it that way. And they think, you put a label on it and you can figure out what pain level somebody is on, and you can't. And
your letter suggested what? That I mean, you say sometimes you wish you were dead from this?
I did. But before I found my doctor in Cincinnati, there were days, sometimes days and days at a time, where I would just lay in bed in constant pain, curled up in a ball and crying. And nobody would help me. I didn't want to live like that.
How did you, I know this is rough on you, and if you want to take a break, if you want me to ask somebody else a question, just say, bug off, and I'll definitely bug off. And how did you keep going, and how did you find the doctor that finally helped you?
Well, that was a long process. It started on an internet support group, and some books were recommended to me they were written by an ER physician who now also has fibromyalgia and MPS, myofascial pain syndrome. And she's done a lot of research on that, done a lot of work with it. And I got her books. She has a website. I got on that, and I wrote to her. And we've been corresponding on a regular basis now. And this doctor in Cincinnati is her doctor. She travels from Vermont to see him. And so I got to the point where I finally said, I need some major help here, and I can't deal with this. And she referred me to Dr. Hal Blattman in Cincinnati, and he's been the only person that's been willing or able to help me at all.
Is he doing anything special, or just giving you the medication any other doctor could be giving you?
Well, the medication is a large part, it's a help. If you don't get treatment for pain, it gets worse. It has a lot of physical effects that you don't connect with physical pain. It disrupts almost every system in your body if it doesn't get treated. And So that's definitely a large part, but Dr. Blackman does more than that. He's also teaching trigger point release. I do it myself with the lacrosse ball against a wall. It looks kind of funny, but
Yeah.
it helps.
You rub a certain spot and it helps.
Yes. It's to release the muscle where they're contracted.
Tough question, and you don't have to answer this question.
It's okay.
But I've got to ask it. If you said at times before you found your treatment you wish you were dead, if it ever comes to the point where medication no longer works for you, where this relief point no longer works for you, would you live with that pain? Untreated,
no. If I couldn't get a decent enough level of pain relief, no. I've been there. I'd been thinking about whether or not I wanted to even mention this, but about a year ago I attempted suicide because I was in so much pain.
Well, but now you're as okay as you can get. Is that the idea? I mean, you're still in some pain, right?
Right. I'm getting there. Dr. Blackman says it'll be at least 2 years before we can try to wean me off some of the stronger medication.
Is this stuff addictive you're taking? Is that part of it?
It can be.
I guess you really don't care about that, do you? I mean,
No.
when it comes to pain or that, I mean, I don't blame you. I don't think I'd give a darn about it, to tell you the truth.
No, and there's a difference, too, between dependence and addiction, and between tolerance and addiction. And it has been proven in several studies that for people with chronic pain or terminal illness and pain, that the addiction level is less than 1%. So that really should not be an option when you're looking at treating it.
Let's go to the doctor. Doctor, you've heard this story, and I'm assuming you may have heard other stories like it. I mean, pain is the problem. In fact, in your letter, you said suicide is the #1 cause of death with people suffering from the things that you're suffering from.
Yes, it is.
Not addiction or overdose is accidental, but
right.
But is it difficult to find doctors to manage pain for this? Apparently, she's had a hard time. Talk to me about that. Are you doctors trained to do this? They're concerned about doing it, or what?
Well, certainly they're concerned about doing it. Whether or not they're trained very well to do it is a more difficult question. When I was in training, when I was coming along, nobody had ever heard of fibromyalgia. Obviously, there were people who were suffering from it, but it was unheard of. And other types of pain syndromes, like chronic back pain or pain caused by cancer or terminal illnesses or psychological pain, certainly people do know a lot about. Some are better at treating it than others. Treating pain is very difficult. It's a trial and error type of process. I don't think that anybody's pain is relieved by a certain set of drugs or a regimen of medicines or anything like that.
One size does not fit all in this case.
Right. And certainly anybody who's been a doctor for very long has been very frustrated by his inability to relieve suffering on the one hand, and by his occasional having somebody abuse the medicines on the other.
Yeah.
And that also is a very, very common phenomenon. Unfortunately, all I can do for someone whose pain I can't recognize or can't treat is tell them that I can't help them or keep trying. Unfortunately, if I overtreat somebody's pain, particularly somebody who shouldn't have been treated in the first place, I have made a mess and in some cases committed a crime.
So all these factors weigh in, I guess. I'm making a decision.
Sure.
You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm a chronic back pain patient. I have had 4 lumbar laminectomies, and I've had 6 cervical laminectomies and spinal fusion. I am a chronic pain patient. I can find no help here in town. These so-called pain clinic centers I've been to, they say, well, there's nothing we can do for you. So, yeah, suicide's easy.
Wow,
Suicide is the best way.
I don't like to hear that.
That's the only thing you have left to do. When nobody will turn around and help you because they think you're crazy because you hurt. Well, okay, I had all these surgeries. I've got all this arthritis. It's hard to walk sometimes. Sometimes I can't even move, let alone use my hands. Now, it's getting to the point where I don't care.
Well, tell you what, I'm going to put you on hold. Would you mind giving your number and could you call her, and we will have Sharon Palmer call you and tell you about her doctor and her experiences. Maybe you all can network and find something in common, okay?
Is there anybody here in Nashville that does this thing?
I haven't found anybody.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
I've been the whole route. I've been the gamut. I haven't found anybody.
Yeah, would you mind leaving your name and number? We'll get back with you on that.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay, I'll put you on hold, and our producer will get back to you. And Jan Jones, you're with the Live Hospice, and talk to me about managing pains and people who are terminal.
Right. We've worked for many years with people with terminal illnesses, and we find that at some points in time, we believe that it's important to address finding ways to treat pain. We've had personal experience with people who come to us who are suffering with pain, who at the beginning of their care are thinking, as you did, Sharon, that suicide is the only option. We find that by treating that pain, and it takes large doses of medication to treat that pain frequently, but that's not a barrier. We treat that pain to the point where people are relieved from that suffering, and frequently suicide is no longer part of the thought process. There's so much involved with pain management. It is beyond just the physical part of treating with adequate medication. There's a psychosocial aspect to it. There's a spiritual aspect to it. There are many different aspects to treating terminal pain. I was listening as you were talking to Sharon about the difficulty with addiction or thoughts of addiction, and we've often said that pain is an antidote to addiction. It's almost like an antidote to the side effects. And so there really should not be a reason when someone is in a terminal state not to treat the pain adequately.
You nodded yes when you said about pain being an antidote to the addiction.
Oh, yeah. Yes. People are so afraid that you want the drugs to get high. What I'm taking, the first couple of days, they made me kind of drowsy, a little spacey, but now they don't really affect me. I'm probably a little bit groggier than I otherwise would be, but it's kind of feels normal to me. It's a normal state now.
So you're not having a recreational drug high on any of this stuff?
Not at all, no.
It's hard to know, though, doctor, isn't it, when somebody comes to you, whether he or she's in real pain or trying just to scam some drugs from you? Is that a major part of the reluctance of some doctors to get involved?
That's one part of it. The other part of it is that it's very difficult to quantitate the pain, and therefore, if someone looks as pleasant and healthy and smiling as Sharon does, you're a little bit reluctant to get them on the medicines, not because you're afraid they'll use it recreationally, but because you're afraid that after 2 years or 5 years they'll have a good deal of difficulty getting off the medicines. There are a lot of people out there who are addicted to prescription drugs, not because they are continuing to be in pain, but because they've taken a lot of medicine.
Does Sharon run that risk of being very dependent on them to the point where it's hard to get her off of it in 2 or 3 years?
Well, sure, but fibromyalgia is not something that's going to go away in 2 or 3 years in the first place. In the second place, Sharon is one of those people who has a strength of character and given this a lot of thought, and she can probably do most anything. A lot of people aren't so strong and use drugs as an alternative to facing their problems or even to going to work. So it's a very difficult decision for a responsible person to make.
Let's take a break right now. We have some calls on the line. If you're on the telephone, hang on. You're next. We'll be right back right after these messages.
It seems people are finding the Men's Warehouse a good place to do their holiday shopping. After all, we have just the kind of things people are looking for, from tuxedos to stocking stuffers. And because we carry many of the same designer brands as department stores, but for 20 to 30% less, it's easy to find the perfect gift for practically anyone, including yourself.
The Men's Warehouse.
You're gonna like the way you look. I guarantee it.
1-800-776-SUIT.
New this morning, from the streets of Nashville to Washington and beyond, your world changes overnight. And News Channel 5 this morning has the latest. New this morning. Straight ahead news to bring you up to date and get your day started. New this morning. The most accurate weather from Sky Tracker 5, Tennessee's most advanced weather tracking system. And traffic every 10 minutes. If it's new this morning, you'll see it first on News Channel 5 this morning, beginning at 5 a.m. on your news and information leader.
Dr. James Sullivan is with us, along with Jan Jones of Alive Hospice and Sharon Palmer, who suffers from chronic pain. We've been talking about pain and the right to die. We'll get around to that, too. But let's take some phone calls that have come in. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Chris, you know, I watch Channel 5 quite often. I like Beth Tucker, love you.
Thank you.
I like all these other people, but you're real presumptuous when you say, I'll see you then.
Oh, okay.
And I turn it off when you're going to tell me that. Could you get another tripe?
Another tripe saying? Yeah, I'll do another tripe saying.
Huh?
That was purely accidental. I had to fill 3 seconds. That's the only thing I could think of to say. I'll try.
No, this thing has been on there for a long time.
I know. I've gotten.
Yeah, can you please turn it off?
I will. I'll turn it off.
Yeah, so I like Beth Tucker. I like Amy Marshall.
Is that what you want to talk about?
5.
Okay, you want to talk about pain or anything?
No, I don't want to talk about pain.
Okay.
The only thing that bothers me is the pain. When you say that, I'll see you then.
Okay. Well,
Who's that laughing in the background?
Everybody, the whole panel. Okay, thank you, and I will not see you then, or whatever.
No, can you change it?
I'll try to think of something else. Thanks a lot for your call.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes, please.
Yes, go ahead.
I am also a chronic pain patient.
Yeah.
I've dealt with this since 1984. That was the first time I had surgery. One of the frustrations, I'm also a retired nurse. One of my frustrations is having dealt with pain patients and having dealt with doctors, is that doctors will tell me, you don't act like you're in pain. And I don't know about other people, but, you know, if I go in crying, I'm trying constantly to use coping mechanisms. And if I get myself tense crying or frowning, that makes the pain worse. So I work hard at not showing, I guess that's the word, showing my pain. When I have run out of pain medication, I'm just out and the pain gets totally unbearable. Unfortunately, I'm a smoker. When I smoke and run out, I have gone through the trash can trying to find cigarettes. But you don't react like this with pain. Unfortunately, also, it's not the doctors who limit the medication, but whoever makes the rules. And a lot of times, these people don't have any knowledge of actually treating pain. They have no concept of what the pain is like. And here we go with the one-size-fits-all method, and it's totally unfair. And I don't know what to do. I was going to one pain center, and it actually closed here in Nashville because most of the patients were chronic pain patients. They were Medicare and Medicaid, and because they didn't make money for the hospital, this center closed. Where do we go? You know, I've gone through the epidurals, the facet blocks, you name it, I've gone through it. Frankly, I don't want any more invasive procedures done.
Well, let's get the doctor.
I don't know what to do next.
Let's get the doctor's reaction to this. Doctor, you don't react to this?
Well, there are lots of patients like that out there, people with chronic back pain or chronic myofascial pain or other types of pain, chronic headaches. They're very difficult people to treat, and I guess everybody does the best they can.
Is she right, though? Some doctors will say you just don't look like you're in pain. I mean, yeah, I guess you have to look at a patient, and that kind of causes some doctors, do you think, to back off giving the medication?
Sure. I think that it's perfectly natural for any doctor to want some sort of objective confirmation of his suspicions or of what the patient says.
May I break in a minute?
Yes, go ahead.
I've been through all of the testing. I have the last test I had was also the bone scan, and when the color picture came out, everywhere I had complained and am in constant, it's constantly in discomfort, it showed up red on the color picture. I don't know, do we send that picture to the powers that be? Where do I go from here? I've ruptured 5 discs over a period of years, and I ruptured 2 one time, 3 the next. Both times I was doing CPR. Fortunately, my patients lived.
Okay, well, I'm gonna put you on hold for a minute because we have a pain expert, I think, on the line.
Okay.
Let you listen in.
Surely.
And then we'll come back to you and see if that may answer your question.
Thank
okay?
you.
Okay. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, this is Barbara Murphy. I'm at Vanderbilt Cancer Center. Hi, Jan. How are you doing?
Hi, Barbara.
I know Jan quite well. I don't consider myself per se a pain expert, but I certainly do work with pain a great deal. I wanted to make a couple of comments. First of all, I think it's very important that we understand that we break pain down into several different types. We have patients who have acute pain, for example, from an accident. We have patients with chronic non-malignant pain, which is a lot of what you're hearing people talk about this evening. And we also have malignant pain. And I think it's extremely important that we distinguish those 3 types of patients, because our capacity to deal with pain in those 3 different arenas is extremely different. And also our understanding of the pathophysiology in those 3 different groups is extremely different. The next thing I think it's also very important to talk about is what you're hearing are discussions of barriers to good pain management. And we usually break barriers down into 3 different types. We talk about patient barriers. For example, in cancer patients, we recently did a study trying to educate patients, and a full 50% of patients refused to participate in the study because they didn't feel that their pain was important enough. A second type of barrier are societal barriers, and you've heard that alluded to. Those are the rules and regulations that exist that make it difficult or make physicians fearful of prescribing narcotics in adequate doses to alleviate patients' pain. Now, I don't think that's a good excuse, but that nonetheless is a fear that exists. And then finally, and I think an extremely important barrier, is within the medical establishment. We do not, I underscore, we do not train our physicians adequately. The general knowledge base out there among physicians about how to take care of pain is woefully inadequate. Not only is the training inadequate, but the research is inadequate. There are inadequate numbers of centers who are funded to do the research that will hopefully move us to the next step in our understanding of pain and what's causing it. And until we understand that, we're going to be limited in our capacity to treat that pain. So I just put that out as a comment, just as my perspective on what I'm hearing.
So the bottom line is that I guess these people are just going to have to continue to suffer? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No, I think that there are many people who are trying desperately to try and improve the situation. And I think that there are physicians at training programs who are trying to get the research grants to be able to do the studies. I think that there are teachers at medical institutions who are trying to teach to the best of their ability to do so. I think that there are organizations such as Alive Hospice who are trying also very hard to work not only with individual patients, but with the community at large. And so I think there are people who are out there who are trying to gain attention, trying to address the issue, and I think programs like yours, which bring these issues to the forefront and emphasize the importance of this to people, to real human beings, so that perhaps we can get more support from the legislators, more money for research grants, get that momentum going that will allow us to progress. I think there are people who are trying to do things, and your program is one of those attempts.
Well, Barbara Murphy of the Vanderbilt Cancer Center, thank you so much for calling and sharing your opinion with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Doctor, we go back to, I think, your opening question. I think you said yes, that the pain treatment training is not quite what it should be, and you even pointed out that what she's suffering from you never really heard of but when you went through school. So does more work need to be done in medical schools to correct this?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all fairness to medical schools, so does a lot more work need to be done to treat diabetes, to treat other types of things. There are enormous areas where doctors' knowledge and skills are not what they should be, and I don't think that anybody thinks that medical school intentionally ignores one of those, or the doctors are proud of the fact that they're not good at pain treatment.
I understand.
But all those areas are areas that need improvement.
We're going to take a time out. If you're on the phone, hang on there. We'll be right back to you right after this message.
I wanted to have perfect vision.
Now Irene Schaefer can see what she was missing thanks to Dr. Stuart Schaffner and laser eye surgery.
This is the best I have ever seen in my life.
Dr. Stuart Schaffner is a pioneer in eczema laser correction. He assisted on the first cases performed in the United States. This laser surgery is an outpatient surgical procedure.
I feel like a new person.
Call Dr. Stuart Schaffner today for your free eyesight screening. Just call 340-IC. That's 340-IC.
What is sleep dentistry?
I'm Dr. Rouse, a general dentist in Nashville that treats patients from across the state who have a lot of fear of going to the dentist. My patients typically have not been to the dentist in 5 to 30 years, so I simply give them some pill sedation and correct years of embarrassing problems in one appointment while they sleep. In your embarrassment and discomfort by giving me a call at Creative Dentistry 321-0922. Get your dental care done differently than you ever have before.
Let's go back to the phones. Dr. James Sullivan, internal medicine, and Jan Jones, Alive Hospice, and Sharon Palmer, who suffers from chronic pain. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes. Hi, Chris.
Hi.
Good to talk to you.
Good talking to you.
I have chronic pain. I've had 3 surgeries on my neck and a fusion in my lower back. And I have a spur in the bottom lower part of my skull growing into the canal where all the nerves run up to my brain. And I have chronic pain from my neck down, and then my lower back is just so deteriorated I can't walk very far at all.
Well, are you managing the pain, or are you suffering all the time?
Well, in my lower back, I'm suffering all the time, but my neurologist put me on this drug. I'm going to spell it because these drugs are hard to pronounce. My neurologist put me on this drug. It's spelled Neurontin, and it's 300 milligrams, and it's for epilepsy. But he also said that they do not know what else, what all it is good for. And he put me on it, and it has gave me so much relief in my upper back that is unreal.
Well, good.
And my doctors, they give me all the pain pills that I want, and I've never been afraid of getting addicted to them. I've always been afraid of getting immune to them.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that helps my lower back is Meprogan, and I do not like that drug because it just knocks me out. And but I just have to deal with my lower back, and I stay mostly in bed on the heat pad when my lower back gets so bad,
Yeah.
But this drug has done wonders for my upper back.
Well, I'm glad you found some relief, and thanks for sharing that with us.
And well, I hope someone else will try it, and maybe they will get some relief like I have. It's really a great drug, and the side effects are nothing. To me. I mean, I have had no side effects from it.
Okay, I'm sure they can check with their doctor about that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, you're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
My question is for Dr. Sullivan. My question is for Dr. Sullivan. My name is Albert Waters. And I would like to know that I suffer from chronic pain, and I also take insulin. I would like to know if the painkiller affect your sugar level and everything.
Can they?
Well, certainly any type of stress, including the stress of what amounts to diabetic neuropathy, will certainly make your sugar level go up. I don't know that pain medicines per se will make the sugar levels go up. There are some of the medicines that the last caller was referring to, some of the seizure medicines that have been used to treat diabetes or diabetic neuropathic pain that can make your sugar levels go up. But if that's the problem with the medicine, then it ought to be a fairly easy matter to adjust your insulin or your whatever medicine you take for the diabetes to get the sugars back down.
Any other, that answers your question? Thank you for your call. Now, you're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes, please. I had one more question I needed to ask. Is there a research group in Nashville that I could participate in where we could start where I am and not have to go back to square one and undergo all of these procedures again?
I don't know of one. Do you know of one, Doctor?
I'm unaware of any pain research in Nashville per se, except one large group at Vanderbilt that's investigating a variety of different measures to manage pain. I think it's called the Vanderbilt Pain Center.
So are you saying that I would have to undergo all of the procedures again?
I'm sure you wouldn't have to undergo all the procedures again. You might have to do some things.
Okay.
Vanderbilt Pain Center.
I'm not sure that's the name of it, but it's something like that, and the Vanderbilt operator can help you get in touch with those people.
All right, thank you so much.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Good luck. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Yes, I have indigestion quite often. My doctor has put me on Sullivan, 20 milligrams, and I was reading in Better Homes and Garden this month that this reflux that I have is as bad as someone having heart problems. Is that true?
You have reflux at night, the acid coming up your throat?
No, it doesn't do that, but during the day I just have severe heartburn.
Oh.
And, of course, this medicine that I am taking, it takes care of it. And I was wondering if, should I stay on this forever? I mean, my doctor hasn't said anything, but I've heard that
what's the name of this?
You're not supposed to stay on it over a couple of months.
What's the name of the medicine again?
It's Prilosec.
Prilosec.
20 milligrams.
Oh, gosh, I've been taking that for years.
Oh.
I thought everybody took it.
I think everybody takes that. Yeah, I've got a reflux, and I take it. Yeah, that's a real common. That's relatively new and pretty good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's let the doctor talk. Right. Let's let the doctor talk about it.
The pain from reflux esophagitis can be quite severe, and it probably is indistinguishable from heart pain in a lot of people. Lots of medicines have been tried, and then along came Prilosec, and it really worked remarkably well. And I think that probably reflux pain is the worst pain that I ever had, and Prilosec took it away completely. And when it first came out, there was some reason to be suspicious of it, but I don't think that anybody is worried about it anymore.
Oh, great.
So there's no 3-month, 5-month limit on that.
I certainly intend to take it forever.
And I do too. So there. Okay. That's 3 of us.
Okay.
We ought to
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you. We'll be right back right after this message.
When I needed a car loan, a lot of dealers told me no. But then a friend told me about 1-800-GET-A-YES. And they said yes to me.
Last year, I lost my job and I had to file bankruptcy. When I got this job, I needed a car. It seemed like everyone was saying no to my car loan. But I got a yes from 1-800-GET-A-YES.
Do you need a car but have a past bankruptcy, bad credit, or no credit at all?
Got your credit in a mess, dial 1-800-GET-A-YES.
You'll always drive for less at Tennessee's largest Chrysler, Plymouth, Dodge, and Jeep Eagle dealer, Gary Matthews Motors in Clarksville. Take it from Mark Blick.
Gary Matthews says lease for less. Lease a 99 Grand Cherokee. I said Grand Cherokee for just $359 per month. Or lease this rugged Ram 1500. This is a full-size pickup for only $199 per month. A Grand Cherokee for only $359 a month. A Ram 1500 for only $199 a month. Only at Gary Matthews Motors off Exit 11 in Clarksville. How do we do it? We just do.
Experience the news as it happens.
Jump to the fence.
Watch News Channel 5 at 5. Depend on the experience and credibility of Amy Marsalis with breaking news. Depend on the experience of Elizabeth Owen with news you can use and consumer reports. Depend on the experience of Ron Howes with the most accurate weather information. Experience what happens as it happens. Watch News Channel 5 at 5, your news and information leader. When it's time to start your day, we've got you covered. News Channel 5 Radio, AM 1430. Nashville's all news and information radio station. At home or in the car, we've got you covered every morning with more local news, more local weather, and more traffic updates than any other radio station in Nashville. Set a button for AM 1430. Start your morning with Nashville's only all-news radio station. News Channel 5 Radio, AM 1430. Your news and information leader.
Our panel, let me set the table one more time. Dr. James Sullivan, internal medicine, Jan Jones, Alive Hospice, and Sharon Palmer, who suffers from chronic pain. You're on the air. Your question, please.
Yes, I had hurt my back about 2 weeks ago, my lower back.
Yes.
And I haven't gone to the doctor or anything about it, but it's the first lower back pain that I've experienced.
Terrible, isn't it?
Yes, it really is. But I was just kind of curious on what procedures I need to follow or any recommendations by the doctor. I had a friend who had lower back pain. It turned out to be kidney problems. And I was just curious if it could be that.
Well, I guess that's why he needs to go to the doctor, doesn't he, Doctor?
Absolutely.
Well, there are a lot of different things that lower back pain might represent, and they include kidney problems, various types of intestinal problems, some malignancies, and some bone diseases, particularly in older people. But the simple fact is that most lower back pain is plain old lower back pain that is not very well understood by doctors and not very well treated by doctors. It is said that 60% of us at one time or another will have lower back pain bad enough to keep us home from school or work. And almost everybody's experienced that. Apparently Chris has too. Yeah. The reason that there's an argument about what form of treatment is best for lower back pain is because none of them are very good. And chiropractors and physical therapists and doctors and pharmacists argue about what's the best thing to do. The best thing to do is to have it checked out and make sure that it's nothing more serious, and follow a gentle exercise regimen, take medicines to relieve it without taking so much that it interferes with your life, and usually it will get better and go away. What causes a lot of problems in lower back pain, and this complicates the issue of chronic pain that we're talking about today, is that patients press doctors to look for things that can be fixed. And many patients with low back pain end up with, as you've heard from our other callers, 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 or 10 or 12 back operations, which are not very effective for the pain of lower back pain. They are very effective for certain types of lower back pain, particularly slip discs and bone spurs. But plain old mid-lower back pain usually is best treated with Tylenol and going for a walk about 2 miles a day. But it is important to get it checked out and make sure that it's not something more serious.
And that's a gentle walk, too, not a power walk, or does it matter?
A gentle walk.
A gentle walk. Don't break any speed records along the way.
Yeah, that sounds very good. One thing I did hurt it while lifting, and so I was pretty sure, you know, it was something that was going to go away. But after 2 weeks, I thought it would go away by now, but hasn't. So thank you very much.
Will it go away eventually?
Usually.
Usually. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
My comment is, I am reading in the Mayo Clinic medical book, and they're calling this fibrositis. It's an ailment characterized by aches, pains, and stiffness in the joints and muscles. And fibrositis is not the result of infection, but it may be the result of a specific injury or emotional tension. And the symptoms are vague and nagging irritations that interfere, but little in most activities. The pain is felt in the muscles and the points where the muscles are attached to the bones by the ligaments.
And
tender points.
And your question?
Elbow.
Yeah, you have a question?
Hip, joint, on it. Well, I was going to say water aerobics or water walking could possibly help, and this is saying that some mild exercise could help this possibly. I was just reading in the...
Okay, well, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
I want to talk about right to die, and we'll get to that. Let's take an early break, and let's get to that. We'll talk about that right after this message.
It's Christmas sale days at Watson's.
Slate pool tables, $8.99 installed.
Family fun gifts like air hockey, foosball, and game tables. Even two-piece cues.
Gas logs, only $99. Then free fireplaces, only $6.99.
How about a tanning bed for Christmas? Watson's has a great selection and low prices starting at $12.99. Face tanners only $149.
Nobody beats Watson's when it comes to spas and hot tubs.
Happy holidays. See you at Watson's.
It's 2 a.m. Severe weather pounds Nashville. News Channel 5's chief meteorologist Ron House isn't sleeping. He's tracking storms in the Sky Tracker 5 Severe Weather Center. Ron uses Sky Tracker 5 and his 25 years experience to pinpoint storms to your neighborhood, to your street.
We do have a severe thunderstorm.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Depend on Sky Tracker 5 and chief meteorologist Ron House, your severe weather expert. Only on the News Channel 5 network. The news doesn't sleep in on weekends.
And neither does News Channel 5.
Harry Chapman and Leland Statham are up early to bring you News Channel 5 this morning. The latest news from Middle Tennessee and around the world. And up-to-the-minute weather to help you plan your family activities. The news doesn't sleep in on weekends.
And neither do we.
News Channel 5 this morning. Saturday and Sunday beginning at 6 a.m. Only on News Channel 5. Your news and information leader.
Even on weekends.
Next Sally, newly married and newly betrayed.
He took off his rings and spent the weekend with this woman.
One time, that was it. Was it one time too many? She stumbled into his bachelor party.
And there sat my husband-to-be, pants undone.
The lie detector test tells the rest of the story. I just got married.
It is over.
Now I want a divorce. Next Sally.
Thursday at 4 on News Channel 5.
The right to die. Should people have the right to die, doctor, if they're in so much pain and their quality of life to them isn't worth living?
Well, I don't know the answer to that question. We live in a world where society has a tremendous amount of difficulty facing the question of natural death, or just any type of death. 80% of people die in hospitals or nursing homes, and so to take it from there and ask about physician-assisted suicide or euthanasia or abortion or other forms of death is phenomenally difficult for a variety of reasons, not the least of which, as we've discussed tonight, measuring pain, assessing suffering is impossible. I can't answer that. Most people who attempt suicide don't attempt it again. They don't keep wanting to die, or if they do, they don't try to kill themselves again. So if you ask me whether or not I can assess whether somebody really wants to die or not, the answer is I don't think I can. Now, having said that, I do think that people have the right to refuse treatment and thereby allow themselves to die of diseases, of natural causes. But I think that is a fundamentally different process.
What about it, Jan?
Well, I agree with Dr. Sullivan in that regard. I think that what we have done societally is we've made so many advances in the medical field that sometimes people feel they have a duty to use every kind of medical procedure available. And I think that the fact is there are diseases from which people die. We know for a fact that we are all going to die.
Yeah.
That's not a question.
But what if the patient comes, you see somebody who's terminal, who's in great pain, who says, just give me a morphine drip and let me drift off?
Okay. There are a number of different ways to answer that, but for me, the answer is that's exactly what you do, is give pain medication sufficient to alleviate the pain. There's a big difference ethically between giving pain to end, or giving medication to end someone's life and giving medication to alleviate pain. That's what I was referring to earlier. Some kinds of pain require a great deal of medication in order to relieve it. But that is an appropriate thing to do for someone in pain.
But not to give them enough to kill them.
You're not attempting to kill someone.
Hey,
No,
so somebody
you're
says,
giving
give me enough to kill me, give me enough to kill me.
I would give that person enough to alleviate their pain so that they could then feel comfortable to go on.
Is that code for I'd give them enough to kill them? I mean, their pain is so bad that you'd almost have to kill them to keep the pain. I mean, you're not giving me any kind of code words, are you?
No.
I've interviewed too many politicians, so
No.
I'm just, you know, I
There
think,
is a clear ethical distinction between the two.
You want to comment on that, Doctor?
I agree with Jan completely. I think that it is possible to kill people with pain medicines. I think that it is possible to relieve the pain without killing them. And I think there's a difference between the two.
What's your opinion?
Well, once the pain is gone, or at least at a manageable level, you don't want to die anymore. It's like getting almost like a new lease on life. I mean, I feel funny calling hydrocodone a new lease on life, but for me it has been. I can actually function now.
Yeah.
I'm not real great at it. I can get out and you know, do a run or something, but once I had my pain under control, I didn't think about dying anymore. There was no need to. The only thing that pushed me over was hurting so bad and not getting help. So.
Yeah, so it reaches the point when you stop thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
You on the air, your question or comment, please.
Yes, I called in earlier about my chronic pain, and I didn't tell you that my upper back was so severe that it felt like it was going to fall off of my lower back. And at that time, I was considering suicide. And but after I talked to my priest, it's God's choice when you to go. Mm-hmm. And so I don't think that. I mean, I know people have living wills, you know, where they can not stay on life support and everything, which that's fine too, you know.
Yeah.
But I think still, when it comes to suicide, I think that's God's choice, and it should be that way.
Thanks for your call.
And
We've got to go. We've got to take a break. Thank you. We'll come back and talk about euthanasia some more right after this message.
In an emergency, seconds feel like hours. Bad things can happen to good people. Good thing we're so close. Very close. Emergency services, where you are.
Welcome to St. Mary's Bookstore, your Christmas store for special gifts. Come inside and find treasures galore. Inspirational books, sacred jewelry and art, collectibles from Hummel, Yadro, Precious Moments, and Fontanini. Nativity scenes from around the world. St. Mary's Bookstore, a haven for joyful shopping. At 1909 West End Avenue. More than a bookstore, St. Mary's Bookstore.
Open the door! Check it out, Kenny. Playoff tickets.
Luxury box seats.
Stretch limo.
And supermodel Cindy Margolis?
Hello. Let's go.
I can't.
You out of your mind?
I gotta fix the dishwasher. I'm getting spots.
Spots?
Yeah, spots. See ya.
Finally, TV so good, people actually make excuses to stay home.
Spots? Yeah, apparently they were pretty bad.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
Mom, can I go ride my bike?
It looks like rain, honey. You better check the weather first.
Get up to the minute weather with Sky Tracker 5 at www.newschannel5.com.
Yes.
News Channel 5 online. Information for your life.
Okay then, dinner here at 7? Okay, bye.
Need a quick recipe for dinner? Check out Talk of the Town recipes at www.newschannel5.com.
Ah, this'll work.
News Channel 5 online. Information for your life.
Let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. Your question or comment, please.
Hello.
Yes.
I would talk to you about the situation with me. A few years ago,
I had a bypass operation. While I was waiting for my operation, they brought in a doctor who had had a heart attack, and he was in the bed next to me. They always put you in a two-bed room when you have heart problems.
Yep.
I overheard the two doctors discuss his situation. They discussed, his survival possibilities, and they decided that he didn't really have a good chance of surviving. So the doctor who had the heart problem said, well, just give me a good meal and let me just pass on away. And they allowed it. Now, what is your, comment about that?
You got a comment about that, Doctor? Thank you for your call.
Well, it's hard to know what to say without knowing the circumstances. I presume that what they were doing was offering him an operation or a treatment that didn't have a good chance of working, and he decided that he didn't want to have that treatment and died as a result of his underlying illness. I don't know what else I could say, given the information that I got.
Well, Jack Kevorkian has caused us all to talk about this situation a lot more. When you have an ALS patient in the terminal stages of that, who decides that his life is not worth living anymore and goes to Kevorkian and says, kill me. What do you say to a patient like that comes to you? I mean, ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease. I mean, your mind stays sharp, but the rest of your body just slowly shuts down and you're in pain. Should there be some kind of accommodations for people like this, or should there not be?
I think it's a very difficult question, as Dr. Sullivan mentioned earlier, and I can't speak for that person who's suffering it. I can speak from what I believe needs to occur, and I think every opportunity for that person to live their lives the way they choose to, free of pain, with the ability to have all of their concerns addressed, that's what needs to be done first. My fear is that what we're doing is talking about the wrong solutions to the problem. The problem is that there's inadequate care for people who are suffering with either chronic or end-of-life pain. And I think that the proper solution to that is to address it through medical education, through laws that make it possible for physicians to order adequate pain control without fear of being prosecuted for so doing. And I think that's the argument we need to have. I've been fortunate not to suffer from chronic pain or from ALS or any of those things, and I would never presume to try to speak from that person's point of view.
But we had Sharon talk to us about that. Once your pain got under control, your thoughts of suicide stopped.
Yes.
There was no more even thought about that.
Something else that chronic pain will do to you if you're left untreated, it pervades your thought process. You can't think straight. And even if there weren't anything else going on, it messes with your head. You can't think straight. You can't make any kind of proper judgments for yourself. It gets completely in the way.
One of the things that goes frequently untreated with people with terminal illness and pain is depression, and so that's one of the things that I think needs to be attended to as well.
Doctor, you want to say something?
Well, I would just say that both of those comments illustrate why euthanasia is so problematic, because if you are suffering with pain, or if you're under the influence of pain medicines, you may not be making your best judgments. If you are dying of ALS, which is not painful, or a malignancy and your pain is controlled, you may be terribly depressed and, again, not making your best judgments. It's just a tremendous problem to be put in a position to make that type of decision for someone. I suppose that I would not mind doing it with someone that I knew well, that I had a strong doctor relationship with, and that I understood the options for him. My objection to Jack Kevorkian is that he does not have good relationships with these people. He kills them in the backs of trucks the day that he met them, and I think that if you're going to talk about euthanasia or physician-assisted suicide, that you have to talk about the relationship that exists between the doctor and the patient. As far as I know, Dr. Kevorkian has never treated anybody's pain except by killing them. I think that that's a real problem. He's a pathologist. He's not a treating doctor. He's not an internist or a pediatrician or somebody that understands chronic illness. You know, only thing he knows about chronic illness is when it's under glass.
Doctor, thank you for that comment. You put it right in perspective. We'll be right back with the final word in just a moment.
Whether you're a first-time college or returning adult student, you can be a success at Nashville State Tech.
I'm getting a quality education, learning today's technology that will get me ahead in my career.
I have a full-time job, but I have options. I'm taking evening, video, and online courses.
I've decided to go on to a four-year college, and most of my credits earned here would transfer.
I like it here. It's a positive place with a lot of helpful people.
You can be a success at Nashville State Tech.
Computers are becoming more and more an essential appliance. We need them for work, learning, and fun. At DataWorks, we understand that there's still a need for hometown service in today's cyber world. DataWorks matches your needs with the right hardware and software. Real people staff our technical support, and while they're up to date on the latest in computers, they still understand that quality customer service never goes out of style. DataWorks. We put the works in computers.
You have just heard the sound of a good night's sleep on a Fluffo mattress. You can have a Fluffo mattress if you'll call us at 1-800-644-2751. We'll tell you who your nearest dealer is.
OpenLine with Chris Clark. Brought to you by... Thank you for making News Channel 5 the #1 station in Middle Tennessee. If you call Nashville home, watch First Thursday with the Mayor. It's your once-a-month 7 p.m. meeting with Mayor Phil Bredesen. Call in your questions at 737-NEWS. Make it your direct line to City Hall. First Thursday with the Mayor, only on News Channel 5 Plus and News Channel 5 Radio, AM 1430.
Yeah, thank you all for being with us. Dr. Sullivan, thank you for your comments. And Jan Jones, I'm sorry?
I said we enjoyed it.
Oh, good. I'm glad you did. Jan Jones, Alive Hospice, and Sharon Palmer, thank you so much for sharing a really personal story with us. I think you helped a lot of people, and I really appreciate your willingness to do that.
I hope so.
Thank you all for joining us. We'll have the very latest on the attack on Iraq coming up on our 10 o'clock news. I will be there, and I hope that you will be there too. See, I did not say I'll see you. So that guy didn't have to worry about it. Good night, everybody.
The Game Store.